But I don't do that now. What I do now is this. What I do now is this. I've been doing this for about a year. I've been traveling across the state, and as of tomorrow, I will have gone to every single county in New York State. I travel around New York State to understand what's going on in this state, because I have a secret for you guys, in case you don't know this. Secret. New York State is more than New York City. No. Yeah, it's true. I know, it's true. Yeah, it's true. I know you don't believe me, but it's true. I'm telling you, it is absolutely true. And I figured that out. And the funny part about that is, while I'm doing this, you have to realize something. I don't have a job, right? I don't. I have my own company. I'm my own person. I'm my own consultant. If I'm in front of you, I'm not in front of clients. Last year, I lost over 50% of my income doing this. This year, I will lose over 75% of my income doing this. I have a wife who does not work, 2 kids. I live in New York City. You can imagine my bills. Now, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I knew what I was doing when I got into this. I knew what I was doing. What I want you to realize is I'm serious. That's what I want you to get from that. I'm serious. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't sacrifice myself. I wouldn't leave my family for days on end. I wouldn't devastate my business. I wouldn't do that if I wasn't serious. But why, Larry? Why would you do this? Here's why. It's a selfish reason. I don't want to move. This state is in a death spiral. Over 100,000 New Yorkers leave every single year, flee. How many people in this room right now know a loved one who left? Yeah. New York State is so horrible, it literally breaks up families. It breaks up families. But here's the worst part. People love New York. It's an amazing state. It's a state where you can get mountains as beautiful as Colorado, farmland as amazing as the Midwest. You can get amazing rivers and lakes, a waterfall, the best in the entire continent, and the biggest city in the entire country, all in one state. We love this state. We hate the government. That's the reality. We hate the state's government. It makes it so oppressive that we have to leave. And I don't want to move. I was thinking about moving. I was actually looking at property in North Carolina. For what I do, I have to have a big city nearby. So I was going to go to Charlotte. That's what I was thinking of. And when I went down to Charlotte, I realized this is great. So I got angry. I didn't like the fact that it was so great and my state wasn't. Why do I have to leave my friends, my family, where I'm born, where I'm raised? Why? So I came back here to change it. And that's why I'm running. I'm doing that. I'm running for that. And you might say, well, Larry, sounds great. I get it. I like what you're saying. But what I will hear often is this. But Larry, you don't, please come on in, please. No, I love it. The more the merrier, please. Absolutely. There we go. All right, so yes. So you might say, Larry, that sounds great, but look, you shouldn't be involved in this, right? Let me tell you something. The Democrats have run this state for the past 16 years. For 16 years, a Republican has not won a statewide election. Not governor, lieutenant governor, AG, senator, nothing. For 16 years. Democrats have run this state. If the Democrats were going to fix it, they would have. They've had 16 years to fix it. If they were going to fix it, they would have. Republicans have sat back and watched this for 16 years and watched this state in a spiral and watched the last 8 years in particular. We lost over 1 million New Yorkers since His Majesty King Andrew took the throne. Over 1 million gone. They've watched it. Where's their ideas? Where's their plan? Where's their movement? Nowhere. Nothing. That is correct. They've done nothing. Nothing at all. That's why I'm running libertarian. That's why I'm making a difference. People tease me all the time. Larry, where were you 2 years ago? Where were you to help us do this? Where were you? I'll tell you where I was. I was fixing my business and my family from the crash of 2009. I wasn't a governor. I wasn't an executive. I wasn't anything. I wasn't director of HUD. I wasn't any of those things. I was a private citizen fixing my own life. That's what I had to do, and I did it. I did my job. The people running right now, the Republican and Democrat, they've been in government for over 20 years each. It was their job to make sure this didn't happen, and they failed. I'm running because they failed. Now you might say, wait a minute, Larry, they failed. We all fail. We do. I fail too. We all fail. Absolutely, we all fail. But when you fail, you're supposed to learn from your failure. You're supposed to change some of your attitude. Or at minimum, you're supposed to be humbled by your failure. Do you see any humility? No. Do you see any change of what they do? No. Nothing. Nothing. They have failed and not changed. They created me. That's why I'm here, to make actual change. What you will see often when you talk to me is I will just tell you a plan. I will tell you what I feel is correct. I will never pander to you. Some of you will not like what I have to say, and I will tell you anyway. Why? I'm never going to agree with all of you 100%. I'm not. You're not going to agree with me 100%? You're not. I'm looking for 80%. I want 80% of us to be good. If we're 80%, that's enough. Why? Because I'm a business guy. Those of you who are in business know the old 80-20 rule. 80% is the key number. But not just that. My first commander-in-chief was Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan always said, if someone agrees with you 80% of the time, they are your ally, not your enemy. 80% is what I'm looking for. If we get that, we're good. But it's something more important. People tease me all the time. I hear this as I'm going around the state. Larry, you're from Queens. How do you know what's right for Rochester, Syracuse, Jamestown, Utica? How do you know what's right for us? I don't. I don't. And guess what? You don't know what's right for me in Queens either. We're even. How about instead, I let you be you, you let me be me, we let him be him and her be her, and we're all fair and equal and free together. This is a massive state, and I get that. I want counties to be counties and regions to be regions. I get that North Country is not Southern Tier. I get that Western New York is not Long Island, that New York City is not Syracuse. I get that. That's a good thing. The more we localize government, the better we'll be. The more it's transparent, the better it will be. The more money stays in your community, the better you'll be. I focus on one important thing in everything I talk about, and that is happiness. They say, Larry, happiness sounds crazy. No, it's not. Our country was built, our founding documents, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. No one ever talks about it. Why do I talk about it? I talk about it because I know, as a business owner, my goal, everything I do, is to get happy customers. If I have happy customers, they stay. If I have happy customers, they keep paying. If I have happy customers, they tell their friends. Well, as governor, you are my customers. If I make you happy, guess what? Happy people stay in New York, and that's what I want. I want you to stay in New York. I want happy people. Happy people, happy New Yorkers means you build your family in New York, you get educated in New York, you grow your business in New York, you retire in New York, and you spend your pension in New York. That's what I want. I talk about happy customers, happy New Yorkers. We do that, we will have a better New York. We'll have a happy New York, and we won't have our families shipped throughout every place throughout the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Arizona. We'll have them right here. We have it, though, only if we focus on what's important. We focus on happiness. We do that, we can have a new New York. Thank you for your time. Thank you. So I want to be able to, I was going to take Q&A.
Larry agreed to take some questions.
Yes.
So we'll do that for about 15 minutes. And then after that, he'll take some questions out there.
Or I'll do it for 45 minutes.
One-on-one.
Or an hour.
45 minutes or whatever
2 hours. Whatever you guys want.
What do you got?
Yes, please go ahead.
What's going to happen if you're governor in a state legislature when you have the Democrats,
Yep.
you have the Republicans, and you have Larry?
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Good. Yes, absolutely. There's a couple things to remember. Number one, I will actually own the Senate in about 90 days. Why? Because the Senate is about 50-50, give or take. Depends on what happens, about 50-50, give or take, right? When that happens, when I win, they're going to see that and go, wow, Larry Sharpe won. There's going to be about 5 to 7 people who are kind of liberty-leaning who will go, Larry, my friend, I've always loved you. You knew I loved you. Of course I did. They will turn. And when those 5 to 7 turn, I will have the swing vote in the Senate. So the Senate won't be a problem. The problem is the Assembly. The Assembly's tough. The Assembly is going to be heavily Democratic unless an absolute miracle happens. It is going to be heavily Democratic almost no matter what I do. And that's a tough thing. You're right. This is my hardest part. But there are several ways I handle that. The first one is grossly simple. It's you. I'm not going to have massive party infrastructure. I don't have it. I'm a small party. Not going to exist. I don't have party bosses. Don't have it. But at the same time, I also don't have a career to protect. I also don't have cronies I have to pay back. I'm not part of that swamp. That's a good thing. So that's one helpful thing. So they won't be able to blackmail me or scare me or anything like that. That's an advantage. The other thing is I need you. I said that I am a Marine, and that's true. I don't have a problem being first in. I don't have a problem breaking a hole in the front line. But when I break that hole, if you don't follow me through, I'm going to fail. I need your hope. I need your help in pushing through and making that happen. What does that mean? I need you calling. I need you bugging them. I need you calling the Assembly. When I start moving things forward, when I want to make changes, you're going to have to help me. That's step one. But it's probably not enough. This is the second step. I know from fixing businesses, as I do in my, well, I used to do in my other life, when you go in to fix a business, you don't just come in and say, do this, do that, do this. That's a TV show. What you actually do is you talk to people and you let local managers become heroes. Local managers begin to support you. All of my plans, for those of you who paid attention, that some of you may or may not know, is not about actually cutting taxes at the top. It's about providing surpluses to the actual counties. And when I provide surpluses to counties and districts, they will be able to do the tax cutting themselves at a local level, which will allow them to become their own heroes. They will put their names on tax cutting plans, not me. They will be their plans. As their heroes, they will like that, and they'll wind up supporting me more and more and more. That will also help. But not just that. They're going to assume, remember, when His Majesty falls, this is going to be a massive power vacuum. They're going to assume a bloodbath because that's all they know. When I show up and go, no, no bloodbath. My hand's out. You want to talk? Let's talk. You want to be a hero? Let's be a hero. In fact, now with me and the Senate, we can actually pass some actual bills that may make sense. We can repeal some laws. We can take action. We can, because I'm not loyal to either party. We can actually pass something. We can get some stuff done. Some will jump on that too. But let's say I'm totally wrong. It's not enough. They're going to fight me and make sure nothing gets done. They might. But guess what? You make me bored so I can't get anything done? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to your actual district, wherever you are, all the top hitters, whoever they are, and I'm going to campaign against you in your district until you're gone. I'm going to keep campaigning. I'm good at this, in case you didn't notice. I'm good at this piece. You want me to sit in your district until you're out? Let that happen once or twice. They will go, wow, if we keep Governor Sharpe bored, he takes our seats. Yeah, he does. Let's let him do some stuff. How do I know that's true? Trump's doing it now. Trump's doing it now, literally. He's doing it now. He's out there still campaigning now, isn't he? He's doing exactly that now. Because what does he want? He wants a Senate. He wants a House. His. What's he doing? He's campaigning. I will follow that model. Did I answer your question at least? Awesome. Great. Go ahead.
Larry, since this is Pine Tree Rifle Club, could you speak for a little bit about your position on the Second Amendment?
Sure.
The SAFE Act, and compare yourself to the other two candidates.
Sure. Well, easy on other two candidates. This is that's easy. Let me do that first, then I'll tell you about me. The Democratic idea about the SAFE Act and Second Amendment. If you're a Democrat, it's the second suggestion. It's not a Second Amendment, second suggestion. SAFE Act in a Democrat's eye, wonderful. Let's do SAFE Act 2, 3, and 4. They're totally fine with it. So we know where Democrats stand. And one thing I'll give them, at least they're honest. They just want to take all of them, so it's fine. Republicans. Done. Yeah, nothing. Zero. Nothing. The Republican Party has no stance on it at all. They do nothing. Literally. Zero. You ask a Republican about a SAFE Act, here's what they'll say. Well, we'll try to do the edges and maybe, and we can't. Then they'll go off on a tangent and go, school safety or mental health. But they'll never answer the actual question. They'll never just tell you what they can do about it and how they can stop it. Nor do they have any way of educating anybody. This is a problem. I stand very much on the Second Amendment, but not because I'm a crazy Second Amendment guy that I love. No, here's the reason why. I love all of our Bill of Rights, every single one of them. And the most important one is the First Amendment. Without freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, we don't have a society. That's the number one of all of them. And what's the second one? The one to protect the first. That's the second one. to protect the First, because the First is the most important of all of them. So I support the Second Amendment completely. What you'll never hear me say ever is, well, I support the Second Amendment, but everyone else has a but. They want common sense gun control. Heard that one before? Common sense means how far can I push it today? That's what it means. So I can push it further tomorrow. How do I define that? Here's what I define that. I have to get rid of the SAFE Act. It must go. The SAFE Act is the linchpin that will make this state either an actual pro-2A state eventually over time. I can't do it overnight, but over time, or an eventual police state. That's where it's going. And you all see it. And people are leaving because of it. Now, they will all say, blah, 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 Larry can't get rid of the SAFE Act. Someone said, well, Larry said he can repeal the SAFE Act. I can't repeal the SAFE Act. I'm a governor. Here's what I promise you. I will get the SAFE Act repealed by 2020. How? Here's how. Number one, I will begin to pardon those people who are victims of the SAFE Act in 2019 when I take over in January 2019. I'll begin to pardon them. I already get letters from prison now. People who are in jail because of the SAFE Act and their parents. Guys are doing 5 years for fighting for their Second Amendment rights. 5 years. I'll begin pardoning them now. Now, if someone already, they robbed a bank or whatever and got a SAFE Act violation, they're staying in jail for robbing a bank. Please don't rob banks. That's bad, right? They're staying in jail for that. But they're not going to go to extra jail time because when they robbed the bank, they had 11 rounds in their magazine and not 8. That's not a crime. That's silly. You know it's true. Yes, you know it's true. So that has to go away, right? So I'll start pardoning them. When I pardon them, boy, will they attack me. The press will be against me. Everyone will be on top of me, beating me up. I got it. But I'm happy about that. I want that to happen because I will use that press as my attempt and my time to educate. Because what many of you don't know, because of I know where we are, what many of you don't know, people who are pro-SAFE Act, the vast majority, aren't angry. They're ignorant. They don't know. Not their world. They don't know. I've talked to people, and I'll say, do you know about the SAFE Act? They go, yeah, it was good. I know. It says safe in it, and this is true. This is true. It says safe in it, and we haven't had a school shooting in 5 years, so it worked. That's as far as they know. Well, then I tell them, I say, oh, is that right? Did you know that what the SAFE Act actually did was it made millions of New Yorkers criminals overnight? Do you know that it took people who purchased their firearm 100% legally, overnight those people became violent felons by New York state law? I actually had someone tell me this. That's not true. I thought it outlawed machine guns. Someone actually told me that. I thought it outlawed machine guns. I said, thank you for saying that. I'm glad you think that. It's awesome. That's really not true. What it did is it made people violent felons because they have a piece of plastic on their firearm. Because His Majesty deemed it evil, now they are violent felons. And they go, wow, that's bad. I go, yeah, do you also know that what the SAFE Act does is it makes our medical community part of a secret state police that now report on people that have any kind of issue or concern so they can lose their own property? That if someone comes into a hospital from a car accident and says, oh my God, I'm in so much pain, I want to die, some nurse writes down suicidal, and the state troops take their firearms. That already happened. You're laughing. That's already happened. It creates a secret state police. And people go, oh my God, that's terrible. Yeah, it is. And not just that, it affects our veterans more than others because veterans are more apt to have PTSD than the average non-veteran and are more apt to have firearms than the average non-veteran. Which means now, since we're a community, we tell each other. And now vets don't get help because they're afraid of losing their firearms and the Second Amendment rights. And they go, oh my God, that's terrible. Yeah, the SAFE Act, not so good. And that's how I get so many Democrats to start coming on my side. To go, oh my God, this SAFE Act's not good. No, it's bad. But did you also know it created a black market? It creates a black market of people trading in firearms and not telling people. Black market of people trading ammunition and not telling people. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. And as I do that, I turn. And I will do that the entire year of 2019 while pardoning people and making sure if you get accused of a SAFE Act crime, I am pardoning you. I will also tell law enforcement is the lowest priority. And most law enforcement will be very happy. Most will be very happy. Most law enforcement does not want to enforce the SAFE Act. We do that over the course of a year. As I get attacked and I get sued, the Assembly will see Governor Sharpe takes all the heat. Governor Sharpe flies all the air cover. Now when 2020 comes, I have a bunch of Democrats who they go, whatever, or get rid of it, or Republicans going, get rid of it. I have an assembly who's heard it and sees I will take the heat. Now 2020, I say repeal, it gets repealed. That's how we repeal a SAFE Act. Meanwhile, while we're doing that, all the red flag laws that are out there, oh, I got to keep going. I'm sorry, a little bit more. I got to go a little further.
Okay, you go a little further because we got to keep taking questions because we only got a few more minutes.
But you guys want to hear this, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to hear this. This one they want to hear.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I know where I am. This one they want to hear.
I just want to get some more
Yeah, I got you.
hardball questions.
Yeah, we do hardball too. We do them all, absolutely. So, but not just that. To make sure we're clear on this, I'm also going to make sure that I veto all red flag laws. You guys know the red flag laws? The red flag laws now make teachers part of a secret state police. That is our future. I don't want that to happen either. That's our next step, and that's happening now. Why I say that is because what you will hear from Republicans on this is the same thing. Our track record. We fight. You're losing the fight, Republicans. You've been losing. You're still losing. And guess what? SAFE Act was on your watch and is still here on your watch. And red flag laws are about to be enacted on your watch. I will end that. That goes away. But I'm still not done. Two things have to happen. I'll give you one big one that has to happen. We have to have universal transportation laws throughout this entire state. We don't have that. You take your firearm to New York City, you're going to jail. And that's wrong. That should not exist. A bare minimum must exist, which is if your firearm is locked and unloaded, you should take it anywhere in a state regardless of county rules. Now, counties can be more lenient. I'm totally fine with that. But there should be no, if your firearm is locked and unloaded, you should not go to jail. But I'm not done. You must add two more pieces to that. Number one, that is the definition of loaded. Some of you may not know this. The definition of loaded in New York State is ammunition in the vicinity of the weapon. That's true, yes. So I have box of ammunition here, firearm right there, loaded. Loaded. I will change the definition to bullets in the gun. I know, crazy. That's what I'm doing. I know, I'm crazy. I will change the definition. Second piece, right now in New York State, if you draw your firearm to attempt to stop a crime, you're going to jail. It's brandishing, right? So I see you getting ready to stab him. I draw my firearm and say, don't stab him. If he does not stab him, I'm going to jail. He's not. Say it again. If he does not stab him, I'm going to jail. He's not. If he stabs him, yeah, then we go together. And we'll sit in the back of the car and talk about how dumb this is. We'll chat about it in the back of the paddy wagon. We'll do that. Exactly right.
Who gets more jail time, you or me?
Depends. It depends.
So MS-13 folks, I want to know why you said that.
That's correct. Yes, yes. So what I'm saying here is what I want us to do instead is to make a very simple rule also. If you draw your firearm in an attempt to stop a crime, you should not be prosecuted. It's a very simple law that we have to put into place, and we can. We do that over the course of the next 2 years, and we can turn the state around to be a more pro-2A state. That's about as far as we can go in the first 2 years. I wish we can go further, but just being full with you. We have to make culture change in this state. I'm about long-term culture change. I don't want to force this stuff down anybody's throat. I don't want to force any of it. I want people to say, oh, you know what? We can have Second Amendment rights, and the world doesn't end. Did I answer your question?
Very much so.
Thank you. Awesome. Go ahead, please.
I think everybody in this room is kind of in a state of anybody but Cuomo,
I like that.
and love what you're saying.
Thank you. Good. Too good. Here's the butt.
Here comes-
Yeah, it's okay. I've done this before.
But realistically, before I walked in the store, I couldn't have even said your name.
Sure.
Or if somebody told me your name, I wouldn't know who you were.
Sure.
I think we're concerned that, at least one of my concerns is that, okay, so there's two choices other than Cuomo.
It's
They're
officially
gonna
four.
It's going to be, they're going to split the vote, and we're going to have Andrew for another 4 years.
Yep, absolutely. Let me be very forward about this. Get this all the time. I'm going to be very forward. Anybody know who the Republican nominee is? Okay, some of you know, right? Did anybody know me before they knew him? Yeah, that happens. Anybody still not know who he is? Okay, good. All right. Let me be very clear about something. Molinaro can't win. Stop fooling yourself. I'm being very forward. Molinaro cannot win, couldn't win, was never going to win. That is a fantasy. For the people who tell you that, they are giving you a lie. 16 years a Republican hasn't won a statewide election. And this is the year? Astorino was a much better candidate, had fire in his belly, and raised 3 times as much money. He couldn't win. This guy's gonna? This guy started running in April. April! To fight the monster that is Cuomo? You're starting in April? You know you're not gonna win. This is a joke. There is no way he was gonna win. He's in polls that his own company set up, and he can't break 35%. In his own polls that his own company sets up, he can't break that. He spent all of his money. He spent almost $1 million, and he still can't even break 30%. Never gonna win. Why? One, he doesn't campaign. You hardly ever see him anywhere. I've covered every single county. He doesn't. Not just that. Be very forward. He can only get Republicans. That's it. He can't draw anybody but Republicans. It's impossible. Democrats outgun Republicans in this state 2.5 to 1. Can't win. This state's not getting redder. That's not happening. They're all leaving. This state's getting bluer. All the cities, Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, Albany, New York City, getting bluer. Not going to win, was never going to win. I'm not taking his votes. He's taking mine. I'm the only one who has any chance of beating Cuomo. You might think I'm crazy. I'll give you real stats. Number one, I'm the only guy in this party. I'm sorry, the only guy in this entire state who gets Democrats, Republicans, independents, and those who don't vote. You think I'm joking? Watch any of my live streams. I ask the same 4 questions all the time. I'll ask it here. I don't think I'm going to get a good answer, but I'll ask anyway. Are there any registered Democrats or people who have been registered Democrats in this room? Any? Sorry. There is one. Yes. There's one. Yes. I ask that question all the time. Yes. No. Because I get that everywhere I go. I've gone to North Country, and I get 1 or 2. I've gone to the Bronx, and I get 1 or 2 Republicans. Every time. In the bluest districts, I get Republicans. In the reddest districts, I get Democrats. Always. I'll ask something else. Anybody here registered Republican? Okay? Anybody registered but not Republican or Democrat? Somebody independent. There we go. Perfect.
Native American.
I love it. I love it. You're ready to go. Now, one more thing I'll ask. Is there anybody here who hasn't voted in the last 2 election cycles, last 2 years, last election cycles? Anybody? Nobody? All right. So I asked that question because in almost every place I go, I ask those 4 questions, and I get someone from all of those 4. You can't find that anyplace else. Not just that. Look at the age range I get. No matter what, when I show up, I get people as young as 18 or even past their 70s. I get all of that. And I've crossed every single county. But I'll go one step further than all of that. This is a 5-way race. In the 5-way race, 30% or so could win. I'm going up. Everyone else is here or going down. That's what's happening right now. My issue is what you just said, name recognition. When people hear who I am and see me, they want to vote for me. Last poll we did, I was at 33% name recognition. That's not great. I'm not lying. That's not great. But with that, I still poll 13%. I still poll 13%.
But we're like, this room is like 1/10 of 1% stupid numbers of the county.
Of course.
The rest of the county doesn't know who you are. They're going to go in and they're going to push Republican, Molinaro, or...
Here's the thing we have to realize, though. I got you. Here's to remember. 60 to 70% of New Yorkers don't vote. Don't vote. Over 7 million won't vote. Who am I getting? Those who don't vote. I'm not going for the likely voter, right? The likely voter is probably going to go back to their old ways, Democrat or Republican. I get that. The unlikely voter, the person who wouldn't vote, when they go to the voting booth, there's only one option, me. They came here for me. They didn't come here for someone else. They came for me. But there's something else. There's a bunch of Republicans and Democrats, particularly Republicans, by the way, who are broken, who think, why bother? They don't vote anymore. Who cares? You know it. You see them. Don't care.
Absolutely.
Yes, all the time. Tons of them. And I would say millions of them, because there are at least 4 million gun owners in New York State, if not 6 or 8. There's at least 4 million. Yet they never vote. Maybe 1 million, 2 million of them actually vote. Maybe. When they see a guy like me who cares, they'll show up. They'll show up and they'll vote, go to the top, and then red, 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 red. That's what they'll do. I'm fine with that. Just vote gold at the top. That's all I care about. Vote gold at the top. And that's happening all over the place. I'm getting people to show up. I'm getting people to care. I get bigger events than the Republican or Democrat doesn't do any. I'm sorry. Than the Republican. I get bigger events than him. And I'm a third party. And I'm still going up. He's not going to win. That's not going to happen. You have two choices. Be very forward with you. Two choices. If you don't want change and you like Cuomo, vote red or blue. Either one you vote those two, Cuomo wins. That's it. That's been happening for 16 years. Blue comes in first. Every year red goes, this is our year. They're lying. It's not your year. They're throwing your money away. And then they come in second. Then they go back home and go to sleep. And boom, no change. How do we know that? They couldn't get anybody to run this year. Think about that. The Republican, where was your primary? Yeah, no primary. Thank you. They took two downstate liberals and said, there you are. You're voting for them. Shut up and vote for them. Why in the world would you reward that behavior? As Republicans, why in the world would you reward that behavior? They took two downstate liberals, said, now go. 16 years have been watching, no plan, no movement. I have plans and a movement, and I've been doing this a year. What's their excuse? Why would you reward that behavior? So to answer your question, am I going to split the vote? No, he's taking my votes. If he actually cared about getting rid of Cuomo, he knows he can't win. We all know in this room he can't win. There's no one going, yay, Mar-a-Lago's going to win. No one's saying that. You know it's not true. You know it isn't. There's not one person who believes that. He doesn't believe that. If he actually cared about getting rid of Cuomo, you know what he'd do? He'd say, you guys should vote for Larry Sharpe. That's what he'd say. That's what he'd say. You guys should vote for Larry Sharpe. Because if the Republicans voted for Larry Sharpe, and the independents voted for Larry Sharpe, and the unhappy Democrats voted for Larry Sharpe, Cuomo's gone. Cuomo's gone. That's your answer. You want Cuomo gone? You're the only guy who can do it. You can laugh and think I'm wrong all you want. That's the reality. I hope I answered your question at least.
Two more questions before we
Yes, go ahead.
wrap
Yes.
it up. Because I know that the mind can only absorb what the butt can endure.
I love it. Yes.
I got 2 questions.
Please
No,
go
you
ahead.
got one.
Let him go. 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 Let him go.
But I want you to know in fairness, I've been at 2 functions in Fulton County with Mark Molinaro.
I love it. Awesome. Good for you. Amazing.
What's your feeling on open borders?
Ah, great. Open borders. Are you asking me about sanctuary cities or open borders?
Both was my 2 questions.
Okay, great. Yes, I am not an open borders guy. There are people in my party who are. There are people in the Democratic Party who are and people in the Libertarian Party who are. I am not. I never have been for open borders. I'm not. Do I like the idea of open borders? I think the concept's beautiful. I really wish we could all hold hands and skip and cross the border and sing Kumbaya. That'd be amazing. It's just not realistic. It just doesn't exist. So I'm not an open borders guy. Did I answer your question?
That question.
Great. Sanctuary cities. All right,
Might
good.
as well go for the second one then.
Sanctuary city.
I'll do it. Sanctuary cities. All right. Here's the issue. People have often said, Larry Sharpe's for sanctuary cities. That's an absolute lie. Said all the time to scare you into thinking that. Absolutely not true. Are parts of my party? Yes. Are parts of Democrats? Yes. There are people in my party who absolutely for sanctuary cities, and there are people in the Democrat Party, well, they all are for sanctuary cities in the Democrat Party. They are. I'm not. I'm the only one who gives you an actual answer. Here's the issue. Molinaro was for sanctuary cities. He is on record saying it. You can find it. He's on record saying it. He was for it in his own county. Maybe now he's changed his mind because he's running. I don't know. The Democrat absolutely is for sanctuary cities. But it doesn't matter because Mark can't win. So you can vote for him if you want to. And what's going to happen is this state is going to become a sanctuary state. That's the future of this state. We're going to follow California, and we are going to become a sanctuary state. And I know you hate that. Me too. That's not the right answer. We are going to become a sanctuary state if I'm not elected, because Cuomo will make it happen. Molinaro can't win. If he did, he'd do it anyway. Not going to happen. Here's the reality, though. New York City is going to be a sanctuary city. And that makes some of you unhappy, I know. But I'm not going to lie to you. That's going to happen. They are the largest city in the actual nation. They have the most power. De Blasio, who is the mayor of New York City, fights Cuomo now and wins, and they're the same party. You think someone else is going to beat de Blasio? Not going to happen. New York City gives out city ID cards to illegal immigrants. Most of you don't know that. You can go get an ID card, a city ID card, if you are an undocumented worker or an illegal immigrant. You can get that already. And you want that city to become not a sanctuary city? You're fooling yourself. People say all the time, but Larry, you're the governor, you can force them. What am I do? Start a civil war? Send troops into New York City?
Arrest the mayor.
Oh, right, yeah, that'll happen. New York City's police force is the 13th largest army in the world. I'm not joking.
The 13th, we're first.
Yeah, but I'm saying, yes. Yeah, but that's not going to happen. That's my point. That's not going to happen. So here's my answer, and I have a real answer. My real answer is to allow individual counties to decide how they deal with ICE and fund ICE and support ICE on their own. Why? If you are in Suffolk County, you have an MS-13 gang problem. You probably want to actually help fund ICE. You probably want state troopers to help you out. Good, I'll send troops. I'll help you out. Support ICE. Do it. If you're in Nassau County, you may or may not. Up to you. I don't know what you're thinking about. But I don't pretend to know what's right. Local law enforcement does know what's right. I will let local law enforcement dictate what is correct. I will let local people in the local towns and districts dictate what's correct. What will happen? New York City will stay a sanctuary city because it's not going to change. But the rest of the state will not have to do that. You can say, Larry, that's not good enough for me. Okay, be righteous, shake your fist, vote Republican. You get a sanctuary state anyway. Now you have to be sanctuary state, and you'll pack your bags and move to North Carolina. That's your choice. I'm giving you an option. If you don't like my option, no worries. But realize something. You can't take my option and measure it against perfection because you're not going to get perfection. What you're going to get is status quo. So measure my idea against status quo. If you prefer status quo, don't vote for me. If you prefer not status quo, you should vote for me. Did I answer your question at least? Oh, you didn't, I know you didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm just asking if I answered it.
The law's the law. You're illegal, you're illegal.
I know. I know you don't like it, but did I answer it? I just want to make sure I didn't dodge the question. I answered the question, correct?
But I don't like it.
That's okay. I accept that.
Okay.
I accept that.
All right, one more question. One more question, anybody?
Just want to make sure I don't dodge the question. That's
One
all.
more question? Yes, no, maybe? All right, there,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, you say you're giving surpluses back to the local districts.
I do.
and counties. How are you going to do that when taxes are already high as they are?
Yeah, it's a great question. There are several ways of making that happen. The first one, and again, all these problems we have taken decades to create. So one thing often isn't enough. I'll do several things to make that happen. One of those things is ending unfunded mandates. Right? Unfunded mandates are crushing the counties. There's no tomorrow. We're paying for what everybody else wants us to pay for. I want you to actually start your budget at zero. I want you to start your budget at zero every year, decide what's right for you, show up, and start deciding and talking about what matters so that more people show up, more people care. I want to end unfunded mandates. Having unfunded mandates means you have counties that are so strapped, they have no way of raising money. Just no way of raising money. So what do? Property tax, school tax. Yes. And here's the loophole in property tax. You guys may or may not realize this. You don't vote for property tax. Your legislators do. So they don't like go in November and say, here's November, do you want to raise your property tax 9%? They don't do that. Nobody would vote for it. What do? They go behind closed doors and go, you know what? I think it's a crisis. Isn't it? Yeah. 9% property tax. They vote for it. Boom. Property tax pops up. Or they make school tax, which sounds a whole lot better. And people feel better about school tax. They vote for school tax. Or worst part they do is they start using law enforcement as a profit center. All of a sudden, that ticket was $50 is now $250. Or everything becomes more expensive. Surcharges. That starts happening. Here's what I know. There's not one law enforcement officer who was in the academy and said, man, I can't wait till I graduate and start writing tickets. I can't wait till I'm a profit center. They've never said that. We're putting our law enforcement in a bad situation. I want them getting bad guys. I don't want them worried about raising money. And they become a profit center when that happens. So the first thing to do is get rid of unfunded mandates. But that's not enough. The second thing to do is to support small business. Support small business. Support small farmers. That's how we generate a resilient economy. That's how we generate a resilient town, city, whatever the case may be. How do we do that? A couple things on that one. Number one, I want to treat small farmers like small businesses. Small farmers are being devastated, like there's no tomorrow. What can we do? Treat them like small businesses, meaning they should get insurance rates that businesses get, not that farmers get. They should get workers' comp like businesses get, not like farmers get. They should be able to get SBA loans so you can actually create actual manufacturing sites on their farms and begin to create craft products. If you're a dairy farmers are being crushed in this state, devastated. We actually have a rash of suicides in this state for farmers. It's terrible, and no one has an answer. I'm giving you some answers. Next step, if you treat them like small businesses, you have dairy farmers, they can begin to create craft products, craft cheeses, craft yogurts, craft ice creams, right? Because they'll get loans. They'll get SBA loans and investment. How do you know that will happen? It's happening in the beer industry now. The beer industry is already happening. We copy that in the dairy industry and give each farmer a chance to make that happen. But I'm still not done. In Wyoming, they have a law right now where if you are a local farmer and you agree to only sell locally, you are immune from all federal regulatory bodies. We should copy that in New York State. Not just for farmers, though, but also for all small businesses. This will give the non-internet business an advantage, right? Because they can sell just locally, and they have an advantage over the internet business, which always sells across state lines. So again, give you another advantage to small farmers. Here's what happens with that. Now families stay on board. Not just that, as you create these craft products, there's less milk on the market. When there's less milk on the market, what happens? The milk price goes up. So even if you don't want to sell craft products, the average dairy farmer will still get a better price. So you have a choice of being a price maker or a price taker as a dairy farmer. But now also as a regular farmer, non-dairy farmer. All these things still affect. I love them all. On top of that, why don't I give the option to grow hemp and cannabis? Why not? You're growing hemp and cannabis, you can create craft hemp products, hemp rope, hempcrete, hemp plastic, all those things. Cannabis products for sleep, for cancer, for whatever. We can do all these things to help these farmers do this. Now go to this business itself. Same idea with business. Let the small business owner, if they don't sell outside the border, be immune from federal regulatory bodies. But on top of that, why do we have a situation as a small business owner where you have to have two forms of workers' comp? You only have one. Workers' comp for those who are on the job versus off the job. If your boss tells you to do something and you get injured, that's workers' comp. I got it. But you want to be a knucklehead? That's you. Company shouldn't pay for that. Company shouldn't pay for that. That'll cut the price down tremendously to hire people. I hear all the time people say, I can't hire anybody new. I can't pay. I can't pay workers' comp. I can't pay the insurance. I can't do it all the time. There are people now who are telecommuting all their entire workforce out of Pennsylvania or Connecticut or Massachusetts because they don't want to pay New York State taxes. That's embarrassing and a shame. But I'm still not done. We have to actually, on top of that, simplify the tax code. Simplified tax code means big businesses pay more because there's no loopholes. Small businesses pay less because they don't get hit with fines and fees. Guess what? I'm still not done. Yes. This is a lot, guys. You asked a very important question. And there are many things we have to do, right? On top of that, we have to get rid of our insurance board. New York State has an insurance board right now. This insurance board, if you're a business owner, you know, the insurance board is predatory. It literally hunts businesses almost to extinction. If you own a small business, you've seen this happen. She's nodding her head. She knows. It hunts businesses to extinction. You do that, you will have a more resilient economy, more money coming in. That will help. But I'm still not done. You said, how are we going to make sure taxes go down? We have to start raising money through ways other than taxation. One of the things I bring up all the time. We have so much infrastructure in this state. Why in the world aren't we using that to make money? One example. You guys know we have a Mario Cuomo bridge, right? Boo. Boo. I don't want that bridge to be called the Mario Cuomo Bridge. I want it to be called the Apple Bridge or the Verizon Bridge or the Sprint Bridge. I want to actually lease naming rights to that bridge. What does that mean? We own the asset. We're all paying for it every single day. We're all paying for it, right? We pay for the asset. We keep it. We lease the naming rights. We can easily get $50 or $100 million every year for that. How do I know that? Two reasons. One, they already spend $20 million every single year for stadiums. Stadiums that are used, you know, half the year or on weekends. They pay $20 million for that. I got a bridge for you that's crossed by hundreds of thousands of cars every single day, that is mentioned hundreds of times every day during rush hour in a 16 person metro area. Yeah, you'll drop that kind of money. How do I know that? Second reason, I've had bankers already in Manhattan talk to me about how to do it. So it's already interesting. You do that, not just that. That right there raises money without raising taxes, right? Number one, but I'm still not done because they're going to pay for the maintenance. We own the bridge, so we inspect the bridge. Right now in New York State, bridges collapse. Right now they do. But if we have this plan, we inspect. If the bridge is bad, they fix it. They have to pay for the maintenance. If they pay for the maintenance, we're not paying for the maintenance. New York State, reduced spending. Oh my God, impossible. Can be done. We've reduced spending now with this on top of it. And better yet, less corruption. Why? I'm not writing the checks. They are. I can't give it to my cronies. I can't give it to my buddies. So corruption even goes down. And on top of that, with all that being done, guess what? Why do we have tolls? End the tolls. You're a truck driver, you're paying by the axle. You're dropping $75 to cross a bridge. No more of that goes away. Less wear and tear on the secondary roads. Benefit, benefit, benefit. There are just in New York City, there's a dozen or so we can do it with. Then go upstate, even more. How about the Erie Canal? Erie Canal is over 500 miles long. Give or take 3 dozen different locks. We can name every single lock. Name each lock, make it a tourist tourist site. We could do that, right? It's the McDonald's stop and the Taco Bell stop and the Burger King stop. And all of a sudden we can rebuild the entire Erie Canal without one taxpayer dollar. Raising revenue, raising revenue, raising revenue. The MTA, specifically in New York State, actually has rail lines that goes into New York City every single night. They're not being used at night at all. No passengers. Why aren't they freight lines? Make them freight lines. Freight lines come in, they pay for freight forwarding, they have to pay to maintain it. We can name some of the hubs after Home Depot or Amazon or Google. We'll raise money so we don't have to spend the money on the MTA. New York State gives the MTA $6 billion every single year. $6 billion, because it's so bad. We make those things happen, you don't pay for that. $6 billion gone, just like that, out of our budget. We need that desperately. We have a $4 billion deficit and $300 billion in debt. Who talks about that? Nobody but me. I'm telling you things that actually happen. I'm telling you actual ways to fix things. If you don't like it, no worries. If you know something, tell me. We'll fix it together. I could be wrong. I say it all the time. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, tell me, help me, and we'll fix it. But we do all of that, plus fix education, which I have a whole plan for that. We can't talk about that. I'm happy to talk about it later if you want to, which also does that. And we have a plan to fix Medicaid. You fix Medicaid, you also fix the education system, you put more surplus into local communities. Surpluses means now who gets to choose what taxes you pay and not? You do. Why? Because I assume you know better than me. I assume you know the taxes that are crushing your individual towns and counties, and you will decide which ones. And your local people who are accountable to you will choose what taxes you don't pay anymore. We can change that. Did I answer your question at least? Awesome, thank you.
Okay, if you want a t-shirt or yard sign, they got them out there, bumper sticker, Larry Sharpe for New York.
Yes, Larry Sharpe for New York is the Facebook page. He also has cards which has all my social media on it. LarrySharpe.com. Remember, it's Larry Sharpe with an E, and the E stands for electable.
So